Welcome to Buddha's in Your Landfill or Your Moment of Zen. I'm on the AT&T hotspot now, and it seems to be a very good connection. And I see the cat is in here, so expect some meows. I shut the doors, but the cat was hiding. So let's pick up where we left off yesterday. And yesterday we were talking about the lost connection, and where we've lost the connection of being live. This was a metaphor from yesterday's Buddha in the landfill, and today we're continuing with that. And can you hear the cat? But I'm live. I can't stop now. So we're interested in pulling the thread of this. And, when I say Zen, moment of Zen, I really want us to understand what Zen means, because it's a way of being in the world that is in unity with the world. All right, just hold on a minute. I'm going to open the door and let the cat out. Come here. Come here. Okay, you still with me? Okay, so we're going to look at where we left off yesterday, and then we'll pick up with our new board. But we're looking at the conditioned way we live in the world, which is in time, and we live in a world that is divided between me on the inside, I, or me, and the outside. And these two worlds, the outside world, which includes my own thinking, because I can be aware of my thinking or my feeling like I'm aware of the sofa or you. So there's this rub between these inside and the outside, like that is constantly creating irritation, annoyance, disappointment, anger, grief. The whole catastrophe is basically, you can look at it as being the rub between the inside and the outside. And so we're always trying to get rid of the rub. And the whole economy is based on that. Buy this new car, get this new internet service. The CenturyLink was rubbing me the wrong way, so I got unlimited data with AT&T, you see. So everything is basically strategies to get rid of the rub and to get back to unity, instead of like that, you see, to that. So everything, selling stuff, relationship, jobs, medication, physical, everything can be reduced down to this basic understanding that the world is constantly rubbing us the wrong way, and we're constantly trying to come up with a way to get out of the rub. So we can't get out of the rub unless we can see the real cause of the rub. And this is what Buddhism is all about. The Four Noble Truths of Buddhism was basically, there is a rub, there is a cause for the rub, and there is the cessation of the rub. And then the fourth noble truth is, this is what you can do to create the conditions where you won't have a rub. It's basic massage. So let's move this along here today. And what we're trying to get a sense of is to get a sense of the paradigm of duality or division, inside versus outside, that shapes our worldview, our whole perception of the world as reality. And we assume that this conditioned perception, which is what we're born into and we're indoctrinated into and brainwashed into when we grow up, the infant doesn't have this. It's taught. It's conditioned reality. But it's limited and it creates suffering. So we really have to get an understanding, just a wide angle sense of this paradigm that shapes us. And if we try to break out of it, it pulls us back like gravity, or like we've got a big rubber band strapped to us. We get too far, it pulls us back. So anytime we try to break out of it, it pulls us back, and other people pull us back. So we're held in this grip of a conditioned perception that takes a great deal of courage to penetrate and to break through. So let's just take it a simple cup. Now, the cup has an inside, and an outside, and that's one cup. But we only use the inside. You see, we don't say, what we say, fill the cup, please. We say, fill the inside, but the outside is ignored. But yet the one cup is both outside and inside. So the outside and the inside are divided by a boundary, and the mind is like that. The mind sees the world as outside and and we see our feelings, our me, our sensitive little me as the inside. And so we constantly want the world to pour good stuff. Just fill the inside with good stuff, please. So we just want positive things, pleasant things. You see, we don't want the pain. We don't want the other side, the negative side. So we like just positive, no negative. But they go together, you see, because the world is one, but we live in it as if it were two, and we just want the good stuff. We just want the up, no down. We just want the soft, no hard. We just want the high, no low, please. And we just want the sweet and no bitter, you see. We just want the pleasant and no unpleasant, you see. So everything our starting ground is that of division. And so we were talking about this, the lost connection yesterday. So what we've lost, you see, is the connection to the unity of reality. Reality is not two, it's one. But we perceive and live in it as if it were two, with me on the inside and the world on the outside. This is a conditioned perception. You see, this is useful. It's a survival consciousness. It's useful to catch a bus and make stuff. And it's not that we make it go away. But what Zen does, and I'll just use Zen as unity consciousness, what unity consciousness does is it makes this boundary between me and the outside transparent, so that through the mental perception of me versus the world, that becomes transparent, and unity becomes the ground. So our reference changes. The reference that we are conditioned to, is a reference to me and what's good for me. I want pleasure, so fill the cup up with pleasant stuff, you see. That's reference to me. But me is the inside of the cup. And me sees the world as being separate from and rubbing against the outside of the cup. So the reference to me creates the division between me and the world. So this whole idea, of letting go of the ego and all of that, you see, is not getting rid of me, but it's taking me not serious. So me becomes transparent. And when me becomes transparent, there is still a me, still a self, but the reference changes from me as an object to the ground of being or the unity of being. So in this way, we're always home. We're always connected when the reference changes. And the only way the reference can change to the unity or the whole is when we begin to see the cause of our pain is the belief in me as a separate thing, a noun. You see, we believe our I is a thing. And as soon as that perception crystallizes, there's fear of death because now I'm going to die, you see. But unity, or the now, is timeless. So if we can discover a reference to the timeless now, that is what Buddha calls the deathless state, the deathless or the timeless. The fear of death is gone because there is no death now. It's always now. And if our reference changes from the me that's going to die to the now that is timeless, we realize that the whole idea of time is created by me to hold me in place. See, time is space-time. There's no time without objects. And objects move and objects die. So time, our concept of time, holds death of me in place. And we can touch the timeless, that is the, look back at the cross, see the horizontal, and this is the now, we do this, and this is past and future, okay? So when we have lost connection with the timeless now, we just live in time, and we live in a cup that's separated from the outside. So when the inside and the outside of the cup become whole, that is the vertical dimension that now becomes our reference instead of the reference to me in time. Now, this is very confusing, and I hope we're just getting a sense of this. Just a wow, just a feeling for it, because we all have this sense of the timeless. We all have this sense of the reality of now, that is everlasting life. Jesus talks about this, everlasting life, the kingdom of God. He's talking about now, not something in the future or the past. And then we can't really understand the teachings of Jesus unless we shift our preference, our reference point from time to now. I remember when I had, hope you don't mind if we continue, I remember when I had, in 1968, when I had this humongous awakening experience, and I picked up the Bible and I began to read the teachings of Jesus as if I were speaking it with him now. In other words, the separation between me and Jesus as being something in time, past, and me now, was gone. So the inside and the outside disappeared, and there was just now. So that changed the reference of the understanding of the words or teaching of Jesus from being something spoken by somebody in the past about me in the future, or me now, you see. And when that collapses, when Jesus is talking about the kingdom of God or everlasting life, he's talking about your life now that is not in time. That is the timeless dimension. So Christ then is the timeless dimension. But Christ is not. But as long as we look at it as an it, you see, then we've created that me, I, and it. The world divides up, but we can look at this, the in versus the out, the micronism versus the macronism. The micro is the microscope, and the macro is the big. The inside versus the outside. The I is inside, I as a subject, versus it is everything that I'm aware of, me and the world. this is an artificial or a conventional boundary or division that is useful. It's the way our consciousness works, so we can make tools and use this for things. So it is it's not an illusion, but it is not the total picture of reality. It is a time-bound hologram. A hologram. And the hologram to the Zen or the unity consciousness is transparent, you see. So it's still there, but it's transparent to the transcendent. And the transcendent is the absolute now ground of being, which is prior to our naming it. This gets us back to Adam, who, and the Zen, one of the most famous Zen koans is, who are you before your parents were born? Well, Jesus says, I am before Abraham. So I am before Abraham was born. So who are you before me is born? Who are you before your definition of yourself as a thing was born? You see? So this now is always prior to the me that comes in and rises up and defines everything as the world is outside and me inside. You see? So that me, the sense of me defines the world according to me. which creates all of our little different worlds, you see, like bubbles floating around, bumping into each other, each one reference to the me. None of whom can see that all the bubbles are made of water. You see, you're all floating on the same unity, you see. So the reference changes when we begin to see that the cause of my suffering is my conditioned way of dividing the world into me versus the world. So I hope this, I hope you're sticking with me so that we can investigate this and pull this thread apart and pull this cotton ball apart as we move along. And because it is something that has to be looked at over and over again from different angles, using different metaphors. So I'll see you this evening at Martini time, and I hope you turned your clocks forward. You see how easy time is to manipulate? You can just turn the little hand, you see. What is it that is prior to this time that is laid over us, you see, that makes us keep running to the future? So I'll see you this evening.